Hello, I am Devashish Chakravarty. Let us study centralized purchase. What is centralized purchase? As the name suggests, is when purchase decisions are taken centrally, most likely at the corporate headquarters of a concern, for all its subsidiary branches or functions or locations. Where did the concept start from? Centralized purchase as a management tool in supply chain management was very effectively used by chain stores. Chain stores are those shopping outlets which carry the same brand name and are located in different physical locations. A prime example would be Walmart, and an Indian example would be Big Bazaar. In these cases, what would centralized purchase entail? So centralized purchase, say in the case of Big Bazaar or Walmart, would mean that all the purchase decisions for all its stock is taken at the common headquarters, though they have multiple outlets all across the country. So the purchase is done centrally, and then the stock is sent individually to all the outlets. This would mean that the logistics works differently from a centralized purchase system as opposed to when each outlet handles its own purchase and delivery mechanism. What would be the advantages or the disadvantages of a system like this? Let us take a look at the two disadvantages first. The first primary disadvantage remains is that if the central mechanism fails, whether the process fails, the people fail, or the technology fails, then the entire business comes to a halt. Imagine the Walmart where all the decisions are being made centrally and all the vendors are being handled centrally on the backbone of a technology system. If the technology happens to go down for a period of time, then for that period of time there would be no logistical activity or no activity in the supply chain management system if there is no backup. This would be one major disadvantage, and hence a large amount of the cost component goes into creating backup systems. The second disadvantage is that if I need to take a purchase decision at my location, I can do it instantaneously. I can just go out right now, buy something from another shop and get back in. But if I am working under a centralized purchase system, then the system needs to be put in place first before purchases can be done. So the initial cost of a centralized purchase system is much higher. These are the two primary disadvantages. As opposed to these, there are a large number of advantages. First, though the initial cost of setting up is higher, the operational or transactional cost of a centralized purchase system is much lower. Why is that so? For 2-3 reasons. The first reason is that since centralized purchase is being done, the purchase size is in bulk, and hence bulk discounts can be availed of. Secondly, because centralized purchase is done, there is no duplication of efforts. Only one team goes out to purchase. In a distributed purchase system, every location has its own team which has to reduplicate the same kind of efforts of finding the vendors, evaluating the vendors, monitoring the vendors, etc. Thirdly, the purchase team in a centralized purchase system gets far more experience in handling vendors, and thus the process becomes far easier, efficient, and cost effective. Fourthly, because the order size is larger, the relationship with the supplier and vendor is much stronger. Fifthly, it is much easier to manage inventory across all the stores. In a centralized purchase system, it's easy to keep track of inventory across all the stores, and since one is keeping track, one can move the inventory about and achieve cost efficiencies in inventory management. Finally, the last advantage, that in a centralized purchase system, it's easier to coordinate the transport of goods. These are the various advantages of a centralized purchase system, and we have seen the two primary disadvantages of the centralized purchase system. It is not necessary that such a system is advantageous for all kinds of businesses. So it's necessary to examine the peculiarities of that particular business and how the centralized purchase system could make a difference, a positive difference, if it needs to be implemented.